We've all seen the various microgreens racks on the market, and I've made it very clear which one I think is the best. So now I'm going to show you two other ways to use these racks for your microgreens business, one of which has drastically improved the efficiency here within my farm. For the best microgreens content, be sure to subscribe to my channel and ring the bell. That way you get notified when I release a new microgreens video on Tuesdays. I've been using these same racks for over 4 years now, and I've gotten pretty creative with them. Whenever I have a new challenge in my business or here in my farm, I try to solve that problem by using what I already have. These racks have been insanely useful for my business, and I'm really excited to share with you these two other ways that I use them. The second way has just been so amazing and has drastically improved, like I said before, the efficiency of my business. All right, so I'm back here in my germination room. Sorry, the light's a little harsh back here. Bear with me, but I wanted to show you the way I use this rack for doing germination. It's a little bit different because there's different needs. The peas specifically actually need the most space because they push up the trays a little bit further than the other varieties, at least that I grow. So what I've done is I have this shelf right here is the tallest of the shelves, and this is where I do all the pea germinating on this top shelf. And then the shelves below, 1, 2, 3, those are the shelves that I use for my other varieties. And then there's a big space on the floor. Let me show you here. Big space on the floor, and you can actually store a whole bale of Pro Mix soil under there if you'd like, or you can use it for storage, and it also just makes it really easy for sweeping. So I do one big space. The first shelf on the bottom is well off the floor, and then I have these 3 shelves for all the varieties besides pea, which gets germinated on this top shelf. Now this isn't technically the top shelf because there's another very thin shelf right here that I use for putting tray stacks in. So I'll stack my trays 6 at a time because that's how many I make at a time. So I have these set up ready to go for myself, and I've just made this top shelf right here the perfect height to store one of these sets of 6 trays. And I use the very top of the shelf to store even more tray sets. So this is the setup that I found is best. I'll tell you the exact spacing, the amount of notches between each of the shelves. So this very top shelf right here is 4 notches that'll allow you to store 6 of these tray sets up here, which is a total of 12 trays. Then this top shelf for the peas, there's 12 notches for that shelf for the pea germination. So that's the tallest shelf, is 12 notches visible between the shelves. And then the rest of the shelves are 10. And then since you have to build these shelves bottom up, I'll tell you how many spaces there are from the floor up to that first shelf so you know where to start. So that's a total of 18 notches from the floor up to that first shelf visible. So yeah, that's the germination rack setup that you can use with the same exact shelves. Comment below and tell me some of the ways that you've gotten creative with the supplies that you had on hand to improve your microgreens business. I'm so curious to see what you guys are coming up with. All right, this rack right here is what I call the super rack. And this is the rack that has drastically improved my efficiency. I hope you can see it. It's a little kind of hard to see, but it's a rack that's on wheels that essentially has twice as many shelves on it. So in the past, in my second farm, the one that I was operating in the deli, we would be like walking back and forth to the racks every time we need to grab a tray, whether it be harvesting or when we're moving trays from germination onto the main grow racks. And it was just taking a lot of time. You're spending a lot of time walking back and forth. So this rack right here is how I solved that problem. It's on wheels, it has a ton of shelves, and I used it in a few different ways. So the first way is after the trays have germinated and they're ready to come out under lights, I'll load this whole thing up with those trays in the back room, and then I can wheel them all out, so that way I can put them right under the lights. So now this allows me to transport a ton of trays all at once. So that's the first way I use it. The second way I use it is when I'm setting up, getting ready for a harvest. So before my employee comes in at 9, I wheel this around the farm. I take off any trays from these main grow racks that are ready to be harvested that day. I put them on here, and then we wheel this right around and keep it right next to my harvester as she's harvesting. So you have all the trays ready to go right there as you harvest. So then the third way I use them is after she's done harvesting, she's gonna be putting the spent trays back onto this rack. Then we wheel them across the room again, and we dump the trays, right? We're dumping the trays, put it back on here. And then lastly, we're going to be sanitizing. I spray all my trays like that with a spray bottle and Xeritol. I mentioned that in another video. And that's another great use for this because we have all the trays on here. We're sanitizing and then stacking them up on here. And then I'll just put this in front of the fan and turn on the fan to help dry them off after sanitizing. Now you'll notice also that the top shelf here is actually a wider space than these shelves here. And then you're not gonna be able to see it in this video, I don't think, but all the way on the bottom, they're also a little bit farther spaced out. And there's a reason why I do that. So basically the peas and the sunflower are the tallest crops out of all my crops. So if I was to put, say, a tray of sunflower, actually I'll just show you right now. See how these sunflowers are tall? When I put them in here, now they're touching this shelf above, and I don't really like that from a sanitation perspective. And same thing with the peas. The peas are super tall, so if I put them in here, they're gonna be like dragging along that shelf. But when I do a tray like broccoli or radish, it's no problem. It has plenty of space to clear. So basically these shelves in the main middle section are smaller together. So that's for all the lower crops. And then the shelves on top is where I put all the peas, which are the tallest, right? So this shelf is tallest, and then I can also put peas on top because there's no shelf above them in the first place. And on the bottom, same thing, and that's where I put the sunflowers. And like this is kind of a ratio that I've figured out to have like 2 for the peas, 2 for the sunflowers, and then the rest for the rest of the crops. But based on the crops that you're growing and the ratio of the different varieties that you're growing, you can kind of build these things to your liking. But nevertheless, if you want to just build the same exact one that I have, I'll tell you the spacing, the tick marks in between each shelf. That way you can build it exactly how mine is. So this top one is 6 ticks are showing from the top of this pole to that first shelf. So then this second one, this big one, there's 9 tick marks between this bigger shelf. Then these normal size, I call it normal, but these shallower shelves with less space are 5 tick marks apart. And then on the bottom of this rack, there's 6 tick marks for the bottom 2 shelves. There's 2 shelves on the bottom that have tick marks. And then the difference though, on these racks, I'm not leaving the 4 spaces on the bottom like I'm doing with my main grow racks. The bottom shelf is actually in that bottom notch. Okay, so make sure that bottom shelf is in that bottom notch, the lowest it can go. And then of course it's on wheels so you can wheel it around. So yeah, that's a super rack. I call it the super rack. I don't know why, it's just what I came up with. So if you hear it being called a super rack, I came up with that. And I love this thing so much. Like if you guys are running a microgreens business and you're doing even a little bit of sales, like even if you're doing like 30 grand a year or 1,000 a month or something, you need one of these things. It's gonna drastically improve your efficiency and it's just so helpful. So now you know a few other ways to use these racks to improve your microgreens business and keep your supplies consistent. But there are a ton of other ways that you can improve your business as well. I created a group on Facebook where microgreens farmers around the world can share their own different ideas that they've been implementing in their businesses, their experiences, their advice, all sorts of different stuff. So we have over 6,000 members in this group at the time I'm making this video. So there's a ton of amazing insights that are said within that group on Facebook. So be sure to join it. It's called the Microgreens Support Group. It's on Facebook. I'll put a link below in the description as always, or you can simply just search that on Facebook, Microgreens Support Group. To see a full tour of my microgreens farm, you can click the video below or click the other video if you want to see how to build these racks fast and easy, even with one person. If you like this video, be sure to hit the like button below, subscribe to my channel, and share this video to other microgreens farmers and in other microgreens groups if you think that it can help others. Thanks again, and I'll see you next time.